And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. As we have just returned from a break, and we are jumping in mid-series into our next series. Again, welcome back to the Sparkling Tuna Cup number 44, our weekly open tournament. To all regions, to all shapes, to all sizes. Exclamation mark B in the chat, as the bracket has been progressing quite a bit here. We do have a lot of updates already coming in as the quarterfinals is getting underway, but this is to determine who advances on to face off against Night Phoenix in the quarterfinals. As spawning in the top right hand corner of Solaris, we have the red Protoss player representing Sidestorm Gaming. It is MindelVK. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have his opponent, we have the blue Zerg player from the land of Belarus representing the Platinum Heroes. It is Nikich. Here we go. Now, we're here in the ace match. We're tied up 1-1. I unfortunately missed out on the previous games. I don't know how this series has been unfolding, but at least we're here for the finale. We're here to find out how this story ends. Hatch gas pool opener, standard opener here out of Nikich. Nothing too crazy, nothing insane like the 13-12 that we saw out of Eon. Thankfully, this time everything is looking as it should. I was just blowing my nose. But so far, everything's looking as it should. Again, Nikich, he is an aggressive player in his own right, but he's not the cheesiest of players. He's not always all in by any means, but he does thrive in the mid game. That's where Nikich can look at his best. Meanwhile, MindelVK, I feel like, does similarly here, looking and striving for the mid game to the mid to late game as well. I'm really curious to see how MindelVK will approach Nikich here. I would say that both these players are pretty evenly matched. This could go either way. We'll see. You keep an eye on them. As the probe does confirm the expansion is going to be as annoying as possible, tasing away at that drone, but will be forced back. Lings are on the way, queens are amassing as well, and we're just going to be saturating up our two bases, forcing MindelVK. And we'll see what our tech of choice is going to be. We have our answer. It is not a Twilight Council. We're going for a Stargate opener. Okay, standard build here out of MindelVK, which is what we expect to be seeing from our Protoss player here. Stargate opener into Oracles, into a third base. It's from that third that we can see like some deviation. We can see something quite different out of Mindel. We'll see if that's the case. We will see if that is the case. As for now, Adept is going to be threatening a shade, being forced back away from that natural. Just applying as much pressure as it can. Nikich is able to keep up. Able to keep up with the aggression. Ooh, and my mistake. I'm going to have to eat my words. I assumed it was going to be a standard opener. I assumed it was going to be Oracle, but no. Void Ray. It's going to be a Void Ray first instead here out of MindelVK. We spoke about this recently, how this is an opener that has fallen out of fashion over the past 2 months. This used to be very popular, like November, December, January. But February, it feels like February and March, like this build has fallen off, and the Void Ray openers have become less and less common here, as we're going to be diving and dipping back into it. Now, the power of a Void Ray opener is to be able to shut down and deny scouting information, and shut down and deny these overlords. With the denial of these overlords, Nikich is going to be in the dark as to what comes next, as to whether or not there is going to be another Stargate, a Fleet Beacon, and Sky Toss, maybe a Twilight Council, a delayed Forge, or even no Forge into Glaver Depths, a third base or not. Like, there's just so much here that Nikich is going to have to try his best to try to keep up with his vision. He's moving out with his Lings, and he has not yet seen the third, but he soon should. There we go. Does confirm the third base. Behind this, there's that Twilight Council that we spoke about. I don't see a Forge. Without a Forge, this looks like Glaves. This looks like Glaver Depths. Looks like a very committed follow-up here by MindelVK. The reason why I say this is going to be committed is because it is a Twilight Council without a Forge. Without a Forge, that means there's no upgrades. That means there's no longevity with this army. No longevity with this tech. So I'm leaning towards Glaves, but we'll see. Meanwhile, across the map, the Oracle gets in, gets one drone kill, but takes a lot of hits to the face. Oh my god. Takes a lot of damage just to recall back home to the safety of these bases. We spoke about Glaves, and there it is. Glaves is now on the way. Again, it all makes sense here for MindelVK, and this could get a lot of damage done. Now, thankfully, Nikich throws down his Roach Warren, but this is a late Roach Warren. This is around a 5-minute Roach Warren timing here from Nikich. Will he have enough to defend? Will he have enough to maintain his economy, to minimize his losses? Because that's going to be quite a number of adepts on the way. Because that is going to be 4 gates in production, 6 in total. Oh boy. 6 in total, and usually it is a 4-gate glaive adept follow-up, but because we've gone up to 6 gateways, it's feeling that much more and more committed here from the side of MindelVK. Oracles, they do slip in, they don't get much done. Ooh, 1 Oracle goes down. Big overextension there by Mindel. Big overextension. Meanwhile, we're going for some extra warp ins. Oh my god, that's a lot of adepts. That is a lot of adepts. So here we go, moving out with 11 adepts. Behind this, now we have a robo and a forge. So this is the transition. This is the next step. Plus, also we have blink on the way, forge and +1. Adepts have arrived. So this is not all in out of MindelVK. He's working on the next step. But that doesn't mean that these adepts don't have to get damage done. They do. They do have to trade well. And we do threaten the shade here towards the natural and now towards the third. But there are plenty of roaches in position, and Nikich, he loses nothing so far. And now Mindel's in a bit of trouble. Now, you may be thinking, well, at least he's kept the adepts alive. True, right? He has kept the adepts alive. He still has them to make use of them. They can still gain value, but he needs to. The reason why he does need to is because he's so far behind everywhere else. Blink is late, +1 is late, Robo production is late as well, 4th base is non-existent. It's now being thrown down towards Nikich, and Nikich, he's ahead in tech, he's ahead in upgrades. Again, because Mindel went for glaives first, after the Void Ray, after the Stargate, it delayed everything else, and it means that the mid-game is going to be a little bit weaker for MindelVK than it otherwise normally is. So he's going to have a weaker mid-game. Still moving out with those adepts though, still trying to find a way in, and he could. Again, if Nikich is caught out of position, we can pop off. But his army's not too far behind. Yeah, he will rotate, he will keep up. Adepts, they do threaten the shade, but we are going to be able to keep up with it. And behind this, we're taking up even further into a second Robo and into Storm. So basically, Mindel, he's so vulnerable right now. Like, he's working on the 4th base, double upgrades for double forge, storm, and charge. There's a lot on the way. Second Robo, a lot on the way here for Mindel. And if he's given time, if he's given enough time, then he can recover and he can surpass his opponent. The problem is that he needs time, and the problem is that Nikich is about to max out. He's about to max out on Lingbane, Roach Ravager. Bailey's speed has just kicked in, and now we can move out, we can commit. We can send it. They threaten us around across the map. Oh, a couple of wings will get shaved off. Yeah, not going to be committing yet, but you can see Nikich, he's up almost, what, 70 supply here. Mindel going for a big warp in. Storm is done. Speaking of, the first storm has been thrown down. We have 1 storm left. We might have been a little bit premature initially. There we go, there's that second storm, and that's all we have. Banelings are crashing, the High Templar are exposed. We force the Archon. Yeah, we're getting into the mineral line, and probes are going down. We have broken the 4th base. Yeah, the 4th base has been compromised. We just focused down the Nexus as well. From here, we could even pick off that Archon. We could, and we will not. Would you back off? Nick is bleeding out quite a bit here, but his opponent is supply blocked. Oof. Was supply blocked for a moment there. 20 probes go down. Nick is going to be backing off, relying on those reinforcements. He can't afford to lose the space. But he doesn't want to, he doesn't need to. As the armies clash, we go for a big counterattack. The Immortal, no! The Immortal goes down. Nikich, he busts into the main. Forces a warp in. On the front lines, MindelVK backs off. Doesn't push in either. Does back off in the end here. And Nikich, he's already remaxed. He's already remaxed. He's on 91 drones. Arguably too many drones here for Nikich. The wall is not a wall. No. Mindel doing his best hero impression. He busts into the natural base. And we're forced all in. It's all or nothing here for Mindel. And the reality is he just doesn't have much. He has borderline nothing. As he's diving on the army. Banelings, they pump off. They do connect with the main force here of Mindel. And from here, we're just kiting on back, focusing down those zealots. Reinforcements are enough to clean this up. GG gets called. Nikich, he snowballs out of control, and he will take the series 2-1. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Nikich for taking the series in the end, for advancing on into the next round. My condolences to MindelVK. Unfortunately, when you go for a build like the one that Mindel went for, when you risk it all, when you go for a Twilight Council into Glaive Adepts, the Glaive Adepts need to get damage done, and as we saw, there was barely any economic damage dealt whatsoever to the Zerg player. Nikich, he was on top of all the harassment here, whether it was Adept harass or Glaive Adept harass or any kind of attempted scout. Nikich was on it, was able to shut it down. GG, well played. Congratulations. Nikich advances on, and we have our next series.